I want to take a close look at the predefined Luxology rendering settings. So let's open up Luxology and pop down the list of Luxology rendering settings. Now you've seen this before, and you've been using Draft for most of the renderings at this point. But as you know, we have a selection of other rendering modes in various order of good, better, best, and specifically for our purposes for interiors and exteriors. Now on the right hand side you have the settings for each of these render types. In fact, if you use the up and down arrows in your keyboard, you can quickly zip through each one and note the differences on the right hand side as you go through the list. Typically, larger numbers indicate much better renderings, as we can see here in the interior extreme, where we have 16 and 64 for the reflection depth and refraction depth. And if we go to Draft, you'll see that we only have 2 for the reflection depth, etc., etc. So each of these values varies with the quality of the render. The exception to this rule is the stroke tolerance value, where a lower number is better. Now there are some additional settings in the lower half of the box, some of which we'll be working with later on. Another thing to note is this key icon in an orangey color. This indicates settings which are linked to the performance slider at the top. And we'll see a little more of that when we click on the next tab, which is Global Illumination. We'll see that we have 2 more tabs which have the same key link. And these will change together as you change the Performance tab because they are related to each other. So just a quick way of changing the rendering settings. Now looking at the Global Illumination tab here, and this is where you control how the light in a scene is processed. Again, each setting gives a short description. Significant here is that moving the Performance slider changes the indirect and the irradiance ray values, both of which directly affect the quality of a render. And again, each render quality has a different set of values. So if we zip down with the up and down keys, you'll see the values changing too. Now at this point, you really shouldn't be changing these values at all. If you want to create a specific rendering option, then you're best off to copy and rename one of these settings and change it there rather than changing MicroStation's default settings. And just to round things off, the Advanced tab contains all of the settings that we've just looked at, plus a few more, which are extremely specific to specialized lighting conditions. You're welcome to experiment with any of the standard default render setups on the scenes that we're going to be working with.